Hello, everybody. Welcome to our second book club meeting. I'm very happy to have you here today. And today we will be discussing Letters to a Young Poet by, I hope I'm saying it right, Rainier Maria Rilke. I could have gotten that name entirely wrong. I don't know. But yeah, I really like this book.
That was a great book.
A beautiful book. I have it as a like ebook, but I don't know if I had it in hardcover, I would really love this cover as well.
It looks so beautiful with that little bird. That was so nice. So, how do you feel about this book?
I really liked this book. To be honest, I only so mine came with like an introduction by someone else, and then it came with like the fiction that he wrote, but I only read the letters. And I think it was just because I just really wanted to focus on the organic experience of the letters. I really enjoyed it. It it's like you're talking to a friend, almost like an old friend, and that's really what it felt like. It's very evident that he has gone, like when he's talking to the young poet, whose name I'm forgetting. um, it's very evident that he went through, like he's gone through it, right? So it's like an old friend giving you advice, and it was very helpful for me because it's a lot of the things that I'm going through right now. I want to know if there were any Saturn transits that were like happening for I, I'm forgetting the name for the young poet because I'm relating very hard to it. So yeah.
I would love to know the transits that happened as well. Um, his name is like Mr. Capus.
Yes, thank you.
And like after reading it many times, I was like, this does sound like what people call me, because people usually call me Capu. So I was like, whoa, okay. So that was fun to me because I'm really thinking like someone is writing to me, except they think I'm a sir, which is fine too. Um, but wow, yeah, you're so right. Like it really feels like a friend is talking to us, and the voice, the words that we hear are extremely helpful no matter what we're going through. This, it's so universal, right?
Yeah.
Even just this, I love this little collection. It's the little black classics, but this one is so nice. It's just like, what matters is to leave everything, leave the questions for now. It's just so simple, and then you're like, I gotta remember this for the rest of my life in the moment when I'm living it, because it's really, it's needed. So, what was your favorite moment in this book? Do you have like a quotation that you want to read out loud?
Yeah. This is the artwork. I'm gonna plug myself. It's the Lunar Jungle on Instagram. Can I swipe it? Yeah. Ooh. What goes on in your innermost being is worth all your love. I love it. Oh, sorry, one more
So
time.
nice.
And
It's
the full quote is what goes on in your innermost being is worth all your love. This is what you must work on, however you can, and not waste too much time and too much energy on clarifying your attitude towards other people. And I think when I read this, I think this was in March when I read this, and I was going through like a time where I was like, oh, like I have to find a job and I have to find like security, and if I do it this way, my parents are not going to be happy. Um so this was a really helpful one because it also was about like everything that goes on in my innermost being. I have a lot of like I want to say intrusive thoughts, but also like obsessive thoughts. So I always hate it when that happens. I feel a bit like, why me? Why do I have to go through them? So it's really helpful because now when they come up, instead of being like, I'm trying to shun them, I'm actually just looking at them and being like, oh, I'm just having an intrusive thought in this moment. So what can I do? Like, I'm just curious about it, which really helped. What about you, Capucine?
I love that. I've been thinking about that intrusive thoughts because there's still a part of me who just believes what I'm thinking. And then we were talking about it yesterday with my partner, and he was like, you know, that you can challenge them, and you could be like, Like who says? And I've been thinking those things, but when you're in the moment of it, you don't think about this. You don't think to be like, what's the evidence? Like, is this the truth? Or, like, so challenging those. And obviously what you're saying, like calling them intrusive thoughts is a way of recognizing what's going on too. So a way to detach as well. But yeah, what would I I don't know what I would say because a lot of it is highlighted as well, what I would read. But the one that I just found right now is, believe me, life is right, whatever happens. Like, that is so simple, but yes, like, everything is always growing, moving, evolving, and shifting. And when we see what happens, instead of using energy to be in denial, to be like, yeah, it's right, we're going to go through that, we're going to, swim through that and like remove the seaweed that is in the way and continue to swim and see what happens. But yeah, the fact is, with that book, which is not only for people who are poets, because, that could be something, this book is really for everyone. And it doesn't shy away from the very difficult emotions and from the difficult feelings that arise when we're truly lost or when we don't understand what's happening around us or society. And that's what's beautiful, because they're sharing, like, it's really advice that comes from, we can witness that Rilke is giving advice on his own experience. Like, he has lived a thing. He's not taking from a book. He's not quoting the Bible. He's not, trying to manage whatever is going on, but he's speaking from his heart to someone else's heart. So that's very powerful. And that's why it's so beautiful to just pick up those letters whenever we can, because we see someone who's so young, and like I do imagine he's like 19, 23. That's how I feel. The person who is the young poet is, sharing his work with him. And I don't know, it feels beautiful to be like, yeah, we're still gonna feel that when we're 40 and 60, but it feels nice to have that universality. That's how it feels. Like, we're all feeling this, but we don't often talk about it because it means being vulnerable. But it's so important. It's so important to relate to it and to be like, I'm going through this too, or I've been through this, so I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. Thank you for phrasing it that way. And it's really true, right? Like the stuff that is written in here, they're like gems, and it does they're not time specific. It's just, as you said, like when you're 40, when you're 60, um, you're still going to have to love life. You still have to live life, and you're going to love the questions as well. So yeah.
Definitely. I'm gonna try to find like another quote that I really like. It's the quote of my life. Like, I don't know how I would be still alive if I hadn't, got that quote when the first time I read it, which is 2014. Like, it really helped me, and I'm gonna find it.
Okay.
If you want to read another one.
I'm trying to find the one about the questions.
Mm-hmm. I got that. Oh yeah, it's on page 70 in my one.
The one about loving the questions.
Yeah, exactly. I got it highlighted too. If you want to
Yeah.
read it from it, you can read from the book if you want.
I can't. Oh wait.
Oh yeah, it's reverse, right?
Hold up.
It's like a mirror.
No, I can see it. Live the questions. No, there's one more. This is, and what matters is to live everything. Live the questions for now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live your life, live your way into the answer, only one distant day in the future. Wow. Hold on, let me find the other one.
Okay, I like this concept. It's just showing books to each other. But definitely, this is such a good quote. I have a very, very long one that I want to share that is like about friends and parents. And that one, like, I don't feel like I ever saw it through reading it so many times, but this time I saw it and I was like, ooh, punch to the gut. Can I read it?
Mhm.
For the people who are close to you, you tell me, are far away. And that shows that you are beginning to create a wider space around you. And if what is close is far, then the space around you is wide indeed and already among the stars. Take pleasure in your growth, in which no one can accompany you, and be kind-hearted towards those you leave behind, and be assured and gentle with them, and do not plague them with your doubts, or frighten them with your confidence or joyfulness, which they cannot understand. Look for some kind of simple and loyal way of being together with them, which does not necessarily have to alter however much you may change. Love in them a form of life different from your own, and show understanding for the older ones who fear precisely the solitude in which you trust. Avoid providing material for the drama which always spans between parents and their children. It saps much of the children's strength and consumes that parental love which works and warms even when it does not comprehend. Ask no advice of them and reckon with no understanding, but believe in a love which is stored up for you like an inheritance, and trust that in this love there is a strength and a benediction out of whose sphere you do not need to issue, even if your journey is a long one. There's a lot to unpack in this one, and it's on the basis that your parents love you, which is not the case for everyone. But I love that. Like, I love the simple understanding that he has about relationships between your friends and your family when you change, and obviously what happens because they also change, or things cannot be stuck in a moment. And I don't know, that one was like, it's a lot, and maybe it's easier when you see it as a page than when you hear someone read it. But it was, I'll put it in the video, but it was beautiful. I loved it.
Thank you for sharing that one. It's very
Thank
helpful
you.
for me because my mom is coming next week. So I'll try to remember that one.
Yes. I love that. There is no judgment ever. Like, he can speak about very specific thing without casting the lights where there's a good person and a bad person, or there's a judgment. It's just like all compassion, acceptance, and finding that peace within your heart. Like, obviously there's a lot more books by him, but like, thank you for existing. Like, truly, thank you.
It is like, I don't know, this book is just so heartwarming almost. It's like a guide, like not like a guide to like live by, but more like a guide, a spirit guide, like just being like, hey, it's all gonna be okay, just enjoy the process. And that's what it feels like.
It is, right? Like, I mean, that's exactly what you just said. He became eternal when the book was published, in a way. And the thing is, like, the story of this book is that this is not supposed to be published. He just wrote those letters to a real man who was really lost, and the man decided further on to publish the letters. But this is not something that he wrote thinking anybody else would read it. And we're so lucky that someone, okay, maybe without the copyrights and maybe without the advice of the actual author, but like chose to publish it. And I'm sure it's been like warming people's hearts for as long as it's been published, which is like the 1930s, I think.
Yeah,
So, wow.
it's really beautiful. I'm still trying to find that quote, but it reminds me of Be Here Now. Be Here Now is really good because it's just like little works of art with I don't want to say captions, but with text that you can really easily identify. But this is like Be Here Now in like poetic form or prose form. So it's, yeah, not to compare them, but it just really reminded me.
I would love to say it's that without God, like it's that book without the concept of like a higher being, because it's kind of like the higher being is your heart in a way. But I also know that he wrote a whole book called the stories of God or something like that. So I'm sure he was very religious, but from what I understand, it was not like the Christian God. It was just like the concept of a higher existence, which is pretty rare at the time. So maybe that could be a book we read in a few months as part of the book club. I love the idea of a letter because it feels very intimate.
I highlighted this one. Allow your verdicts their own quiet, untroubled development, which, like all progress, must come from deep within and cannot be forced or accelerated. Everything must be carried to term before it is born. I really like this one. This one really reminded me that everybody, including myself, we're allowed to grow at our own pace. And I think we live in a time where a lot of the times we're supposed to take like a side or a judgment, but actually it's okay to just take your time to grow into your judgment, and it's okay to like consistently change your observations and opinions, because like you can't really make a fair observation unless you live it, right? So yeah, this one was really good.
I love that. I also highlighted that and I was thinking about it as well before, but I was thinking about this concept that you mentioned yesterday because obviously, like in the whole wellness industry, there's a lot of people who offer beautiful services and who share things from their heart and who facilitate beautiful sessions. And we also know that there's this other part where there's a lot of charlatans. I don't know if you say this, like there's a lot of people who are not being honest and who are just using the industry in order to share things that are, not very honest. And it makes the whole industry look like that in a way. There's a lot of people who never had a reading or never had a healing session who dismiss the validity of such modalities based on the fact that there's a few who are not honest. And I was talking about it with a friend and I was like, you cannot pass a judgment on anyone unless you've tried it. Like you can't, like you have to live through that experience in order to say yes, it works or it doesn't work. So I was really like getting heated about it because I don't understand why people would say things if they don't know. Like how can you know if you haven't? Like I would never try to talk about a book that I never read or like a movie, like why? So it's the same with other things. We should try to have more curiosity and try things with like an innocent and honest viewpoint and then make our minds once we lived it. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I 100% agree. And it's also really important too, because as well as like what's being said in the book or what I got from the book a lot, it's about allowing yourself to think for yourself. And it's like as you said, you don't know until you try it, until you live it, right? So you know, it's a very good reminder to remember that life is a very organic experience, and there's no pressure to be something or feel something or like have opinions on something. And it's totally okay to just be like, I'm gonna wait and see, you know? And that's a very good reminder for me too, because I'm super impatient. So yeah, it's wait and see. Because that's that's what life is, right? If you start to not have this curiosity, then it's almost like you either live in the present, which is like anxiety, or maybe you start to live in the past. So, yeah.
I love that. You're so right. And I want to jump back with another quote from Rilke. I've been trying to find it in the book forever, but I couldn't find it right now. So I just Googled it again. So it's, let everything happen to you. Beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. And that's the quote that I grinded in my brain in 2014, and then I'm just like, everything is temporary. No feeling is final. Because it's always moving, it's always evolving. And even our memory it's like another viewpoint from the past in the present, where we're still making that feeling about that experience become something else because we're looking at it from different eyes, right? So I can feel my words are being like so jumbled, like Mercury retrograde, no, la la la. But yeah, I know it. Yeah, so I love that quote, and I wish that we had street art everywhere in the street, sharing that with everyone so that we could all remember that.
That's very beautiful. Maybe make art an artwork.
I don't
But
know.
yeah, that really resonates with me. No feeling is final.
Mhm. And let everything happen to you. I love that. Like it's like the experiences are happen to us. Like sometimes we think that we have a responsibility towards a lot of things, including in the world of, manifesting and oh my God, it must have been like a shadow within you. But the truth is nowhere. Like obviously we have a higher self, so we have some power into what happens to us. But I don't think we're responsible for everything that happens to us. I am pretty sure that we're not responsible for most of the things that happen to us. So I love that wording of let everything happen to you, because that also makes us be a witness and an observer in whatever is happening. And and then decide how we are going to react to it, and that's where the responsibility is, like how do you react to whatever is happening. But yeah, it's a boom to the heart. Like, yes. There you go. Mm. So I want to ask you a question. Would you write yourself a letter if you could, in that tone as well, of like understanding how to appease yourself from the future or from the past? But like that could be an exercise that everyone does. But
Yeah, I was gonna actually say that. Like maybe that's the exercise that we do after this watching this video. I wonder, could I? I feel like what I know right now can be helpful, but I wanna wait a little longer until I live more experiences because I'm not ready yet. But what about you?
I sometimes do. I use a website called futureme.org and I really recommend it to everyone. But you're basically writing emails and sending it to yourself and setting up a date. And I sometimes go into like a whole series of things where I'm gonna select random dates or sometimes my birthday, and I'm just gonna like send a lot of things to myself, and then I receive them 6 months later, 2 years later. So I have no idea what I wrote, but I love doing that. And it's usually short and it's like, you got this. Like, no matter what happens, you always think that you're, not on top of it. But hey, like it's okay. Like little things like that are really helpful.
Yeah, and that's like past self looking out for future you.
Yeah. I wish future me could write myself a letter right now. If time travel existed, I would love that.
You know, that's very interesting because and I'm going off tangent here, but when I first started learning Reiki, so you know the concept of consciousation, and so I was reading all these people's experiences, and there was this one person who shared their experience of they were able to remember when they were like a kid that there was a very loving energy coming to them at nights where they felt like scared or you know they weren't happy, and then after they started learning Reiki, that's what they were doing. So the future them was sending it to the past them, and I guess when you're in the past you don't really know what it is, but then you come to the point where you know that oh that was me doing the energy work, sending the energy. So
I'm guilty of doing that too. Like have been doing this since I learned that and Daikomyo, and I've been going to places and cities, and I remember, like being extremely sad here or like having a moment where I was totally lost, and so I've been traveling and just like creating spheres of bubbles of light, and then I also like I specifically chosen moments where I felt, like a hand on my shoulder or like a warm feeling or like a ray of light. So I've been my own guardian angel in the past, I guess, and it's very nice.
that's
Mm,
beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you now specific questions because you're an artist and this is specifically addressed to artists, and there's a lot of beautiful advices on, finding your own voice and like owning it and going within in order to, seek guidance. So I wanted to ask you, like, has it helped you in a way?
Yeah. So when I was reading this back in March, there were some, I think I actually went through like a period where I didn't create anything because I just didn't want to. Nothing felt organic and right. And there were actually quotes, and I'm gonna try and find them, quotes that it really helped. And it really taught me that it is just better to have that honest and authentic reflection than to just like almost like stress and worry about creating for the sake of creating or for the sake of content in this age. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. There was one really good one about artists. Okay. To be an artist means not to calculate and count, to grow and ripen like a tree which does not hurry the flow of its sap and stands at ease in the spring gales without fearing that no summer may follow. It will come. And it's really true because when I do like creating, it's not, if I'm worrying about the outcome and I'm like, okay, I wonder like about reach, engagement, blah, blah, blah. I look back and I just like look at the art and I don't feel as happy about it. I guess I like it, but it doesn't feel the same as when I'm like just putting up things for, I just want, I don't care who likes it, who sees it. I'm just gonna put it up. And that's really what helped me, especially in like March this year. I just started doing um like I would just post and I don't care. And I like don't look at my phone until a few hours later. And then I'm like, okay, then, that's my true vibration reaching truly who is supposed to be resonating with this frequency. And I think that makes me happier because it's authentic. I know that it's, I've done what I need to done. I know that I've become the channel and that's it.
I
Yeah.
love that. And I love your art. I hope that everyone goes and find you. And we're going to put all the links down below because it's so nice. It's really nice.
Thank
It's so beautiful. Like it really teaches you so many lessons. So, mm.
you. Really happy to hear. But sorry, I had a question come in and I'm trying to phrase it. Oh, okay. I hope I'm phrasing it right. So I wanted to ask you, this book was written, or it was, the letters were written a long time ago, but to me, the letters actually indicate, um, the theme in the letters are something that I personally feel you can't really find a lot of this in works that were like in 1900s, like, earlier on. So a lot of this, I actually kind of feel that there's an element of maybe like divine feminine element in it that is very relevant for where we are now here. And I also recognize your work with the divine feminine. So I wanted to ask if you saw anything with that. I hope I'm making sense.
Well, oh my God. I didn't know how to answer this. And then I was um, like it comes from the heart. That's what I wanted to say. I wanted to say it just comes from the heart. And then I just looked down at the thing and like his second name is Maria. And I was like, oh my God, like it's a feminine name and also it's Mary. So, maybe the Virgin Mary is somewhere here. Or, it's also mare, which means the water, the ocean. So it means many things, which is, very natural and connected to the flow. So it's an exchange between two men. And I think that's very beautiful to see that it was done in an intimate, again, like letters to each other. So it was intimate. And maybe that allowed them to be very open and vulnerable with one another because they didn't have to present a front of, whatever masculine energy has to be in public at this time, obviously, and like at the time that we're in. So we're talking from also a poet to another poet, like Maria Rilke as Reina. Anyway, Rilke has published many poems. He's a poet as well. So I do think that when you are tuned into poetry, you're tuned into receiving, it's like that inspiration that comes from the muses. And so definitely it's going to be feminine. I think that whenever you talk of, the heart, it's going to be both energies that meet one another. So maybe that's what it is as well. Maybe they're channeling their own anima within them, like their soul, their heart, which is feminine, within like another masculine energy. I don't know how to answer it, but I just feel like it really activates healing in the heart, and it doesn't need to be I don't know, I'm just getting lost in my in my sentence, but yeah, it activates the heart and it's healing. So it's divine. That's what I'm gonna say. It's divine. Is it feminine or masculine? I don't know, but it's divine.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it, I think. Because I think I also didn't consider that, yeah, this is also like two people just sharing, like in a very intimate setting, right? So of course everything that can come through, you feel like so much more safer and open to having it come from the heart. And the heart is, there's no there's no yes or no or right or wrong. The heart is just a heart, and when you connect with something from the heart, it is divine.
Definitely. Oh my god, we're so lucky. We're so lucky that this happened, and I wonder what other letters exist in this world that show us that as well, like all the things that are not published. But I recently saw that Rilke, also was very good friends with the sculptor Rodin, which is a French sculptor, and his letters also might have been published or are somewhere online where there's also a lot of wisdom. So I'm gonna try to find them, and I guess I can encourage people watching to try to find them too, because if this man writes that good letters, I'm sure that the more there are, the more the more we can get some healing when we read them.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, it's here. So be patient towards all that is unresolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves like locked rooms, like books written in a foreign tongue. Do not strive to uncover answers. This is your quote, the one that you shared with me. I was just reading the last half, but this is the first half. So we got the same thing. I was like, no, it's a different quote, but yes. Try to love the questions themselves like locked rooms, like books written in a foreign tongue. Do not strive to uncover answers. They cannot be given you because you have not been able to live them. And what matters is to live everything. Live the questions for now. Perhaps then you will gradually, without noticing it, live your way into the answer one day in the distant future. Perhaps you do carry the possibility of forming and creating as a particularly happy and pure way of living. School yourself for it, but take what comes in complete trust. And as long as it is a product of your will or some kind of inner necessity, accept it and do not despise it. It's just, I love it. Try to love the questions like locked rooms, because the question is the answer.
I love that. I wish he could go into the Akashic records. I'm sure he's been there all this time helping us get our answers when we have the questions. Oh. Then there's so much more. Like there's so much more. There's many little things where it's not a whole quote, but he's just like making a metaphor or using an adjective next to something, and it just puts light on it in such a different way, and it's so beautiful. So if you're watching this video and you haven't read the book, please, please, please get the book. It's so short, it's super small, and it's so easy. There's 10 letters, so you can read one every day, and in 10 days you're done. And I'm pretty sure you'll fall in love with it.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I have a question for you now.
Yeah.
I want to know, is there a possibility of you visiting all these places where, at the top of every letter it says at present in, like it says where he is, where he's writing from. And
Yes.
slash, will you one day visit these places?
Oh, I would love that. So I've been to Paris, which is the first letter. I live in Paris. The other one is next to Pisa in Viareggio. So I've been to Pisa, but I don't know what is Viareggio, which is 2 letters at least. Then there's Bremen. I've never been to Bremen in Germany. Maybe we could go together. There's Rome and another Rome.
3 rooms.
Three Romes. The first one is on my birthday. I'm like, okay, cool. Um, you can see how I'm like engrossed with this book because I'm like, the name looks like mine. Oh, it's on my birthday. Okay, I'm not like that, but anyway. There's one in Sweden in Borgeby Gard in Fladi. I've never been there, but I would love to. I mean, I would love to go anywhere in the world. I think there's a few in Vienna as well. More in Sweden, another one in Paris. Oh, oh my God, it starts and it ends in Paris. Do you think you would come to Paris and visit all the places of Rilke?
I would love to, especially, I don't know. Yeah, I would love to. I would love to go to Sweden, so definitely on my list, but I would love to visit all of them.
That would be great. I love the fact that those locations are there, and because we're talking about letters traveling from places to places, there's such a connection with like the places in your head. Like when he's in Rome, I really picture the whole like Rome city and like the streets, the paved streets, and like the big monuments. And I just try to think about him being there, and I love that. Mm. I actually don't even know what he looks like. Let's Google that.
I will Google it
I
too.
I don't have a face in my head. I think he died pretty young because he was sick.
I'm like looking at the birthday. I'm like, oh, 4th December.
Ooh, he's a Sag. Oh my god, let's do the whole astrological chart. Rainer Maria Rilke. Okay, let's guess. People who are with us, please try to feel like what would be his moon sign and his Mercury sign, given that type of content. What do you think? I think there must be a Cancer energy to it.
I was gonna say probably Cancer moon.
Oh, oh.
I'm gonna say Libra Mercury maybe because the way that he speaks is very I don't know. I would imagine it's how a Libra would come across maybe.
Wow. Okay, I'm shocked. Do you want the rundown?
Yeah.
So he has a moon in Aquarius,
Oh.
just next to Saturn, which speaks to like the way that he is so good at articulating emotions and maybe like putting order back into it. His Mercury is at Scorpio 29 degree, which is my Mercury. Like my Mercury is 29 degree Scorpio as well, which is super creepy.
Look at
And he's a
that.
Virgo. Yeah, and he's a Virgo rising.
Ah, look at that.
And he has a Jupiter in Scorpio. He has a Venus in Sagittarius and Mars in Aquarius. North Node in the seventh house in Aries, which we are like having all those planets in right now. Good job. Wow. I wouldn't think he was a Sag. I'm pretty
Yeah.
impressed.
I'm like, wow, that's really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. And he has his part of fortune in Cancer, 10 degree.
I was like so excited to be a water sign and be like, yeah, water sign. But it completely.
Well, he has some. I mean, he has Mercury and Jupiter and some Cancer and descendant in Pisces. So it's there. But we could do the Vedic astrological chart as well. Oh my god, his nakshatras. That's fascinating. Wow. Okay, so I want to ask you, which book should we read next?
I want to go grab it. I'm gonna grab it. I'll be back.
Okay.
Da-da-da! It's Braiding Sweetgrass. Um, I have not read. I'm reading it right now. I'm not done with it. But this book is is really touching my heart, and I'm really excited for us to share all of that knowledge and all of that experience with this book. The next time we meet, Robin Wall Kimmerer is the way she writes just it's like you're just able to see all the friends, the trees out there, and I think the wisdom that she shares in this book is very important for us right now in Earth stewardship and in understanding the importance of honoring the lands that we are on, the relationships, coming into the right relationships. So I really hope that this will be a good read for us.
I'm so excited to read it. That's gonna be so good. Okay, everyone. So you have to catch up on Letters to a Young Poet if you didn't. And then we also had our first book, which was The Pleiadian. No, sorry, not The Pleiadian. The Prism of Lyra. La la la. The Prism of Lyra, Letters to a Young Poet, and now we have Braiding Sweetgrass. And if you're looking for even more books recommendation, we had a whole first intro to our book club, which had so many recommendations. And last question, Sarah, what have you read in the past few months that you recommend to us right now?
Thank you for asking that question. I am going to recommend When the Body Says No by Dr. Gabor Mate, a Vancouver treasure. But also, I think it's very important for us because we live in a society that I'm like, we live in a society, but it's like our society generally like sets us up for stress, and this book is it's a really important book about that. So I really recommend it. What about you? What is one book you really want to recommend, Kelsey?
Just yesterday, I read A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson, and I was not expecting it to resonate that much because that was, I don't know, it just really, it was like a bomb to the heart, like this one. So, Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. Yeah. Especially in audiobook because it's read by her, and there is a magic to books read by the author. It is a vibration that really changes as opposed to, narrators. So try that one. So I think we're done for today's episode. We're going to regroup soon. I hope that you enjoy this book. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much. Can't wait to read this book.
Okay, everybody, we have come to our end of our video. And in the parting words of Rilke, ever yours. So I hope you have a really good day and month and year, wherever this finds you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for watching and for sharing those energies. And if you want to tag people along to this book club, send them the video so that they can join the discussion and discover what we truly enjoy with our heart and that we think that you would also truly enjoy with your heart. See you soon!